So the next thing we want to get into is talking about dictionaries. Well, dictionaries are similar to lists. So we want to start evaluating a different way of representing information. So dictionaries, you can spell correctly, are similar to lists. And the indices can be assigned as any character. So we don't have to deal with just numbers, 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. We can actually assign an index, and it can be any character of index. So the indices, I don't know if that's correctly spelled, as any character. Okay, so instead of just integers, 0, 1, 2, etc., the indices can be letters or integers or both, and all within the same dictionary. Right? So let's take a look at what one of these things might look like. So let's call it dictionary. Right? And we want that to be equal to, and now where we set up our lists, we put them in those square brackets. Here we hit shift and we put them in the kind of the curly brackets. I'll call it curly brackets. You can call it whatever you want. And we're going to set the indices equal to A, B, C, lowercase. So the first thing we want to put in here is everything's in quotation marks. So the A is our first indice. Then we put in our colon, and we'll put in a value. So indice A is going to be assigned a value of 723. All right. Then comma, so each element, indice and value, is separated by a comma. Then we'll put in the next indice, B, and colon, and then we're going to call this one Eugene. And then the next one, we'll call that C, and then colon, and we'll call this one, in quotation marks, Oregon. Right? So I've just created my first dictionary. So we're going to run that line. We're going to go over here to our variable view to see what I've created. Over here in the right, we'll also be looking at our console to see what happens. So we're going to hit run that line. And so now I have a new dictionary. That's the type dictionary. I've named it dictionary. It has 3 elements in it, and these are the values: 723, Eugene, and Oregon, and it has the indices attached to it are A, B, and C. So now if I wanted to call a particular value out of the dictionary, I would just simply type in dictionary, because that's the name of the dictionary. I've named it dictionary. And I'm going to put in square brackets and in quotation marks, I want it to give me the value C. And then I'm going to hit run that line, and what it should do is it should give me Oregon. So let's run that. And it gives me down here, it gives me Oregon. So it gives me the value of Oregon. Now, if I wanted to replace elements or add more elements, right? Let's just start with replacing. So to replace an element in a dictionary, you just redefine based on the dictionary's indices. So to operationalize this, what I want to do is I'm going to say, okay, I've got dictionary, and I'm looking at dictionary indices B, and now I want that to equal Corvallis. Right? And I'm going to run that, and what you'll see is that Eugene will be replaced with Corvallis up here in our variable view. So let's see if I did it right. There you go. Now Corvallis is now assigned to B. So it's pretty easy to go in and make those kinds of changes. Mixing indices is not advisable, but it can be done with dictionaries. So I'm going to create another dictionary here. So we're going to talk about mixing indices, because it becomes confusing, right? If I go from, in the same dictionary, I go from a letter to a number, back to a letter, it becomes much more confusing, right? So mixing indices, it is not advisable, but it can be done. All right, so let's do an example. So we'll call this one dictionary 1. And we're going to have that equal. We're going to put in the curly brackets again. 4. Now you notice I don't have to put it in quotation marks, right? Integers you don't have to put in quotation marks. 4, and then I'm going to put the value, Lillis, in there, comma. And now E, again, all separated with colons, and then we're going to call this one Anstedt. And then next one, 10, and we're going to call this one Childs. Right? And let's see if this will actually run. All right, so we'll see. Let's hit that. Now I have a second dictionary, and it's labeled just the way I want it to. So if I wanted to call up the value of Chillis, then I'd have to put in dictionary 1 bracket 10. So you can see you want your indices to have some kind of logic to it, some kind of increasing logic, right? This is pretty random. 4 and 10 and E. It doesn't make a lot of sense to do that.